All right, guys, welcome back. Hopefully you had some coffee and stuff back there. And hopefully you're getting a lot of good value. I see I was talking to my boy over there, and it's like a bobblehead. I'm like, this is good, he's getting it. So this part of the content here, we're going to get more into the mechanics of, I guess I would say business. We're going to apply it to real estate, but no matter what business you're in or what you're trying to do, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this stuff will help you. So get your notepads out for sure, and get ready to take some notes. So I think some good business efficiency things here. What we're going to do from here on is teach you how to increase your effectiveness. Right? It's not that you don't know what to do. It's more about being effective at it. It's more about activity management. Some people call this time management, but it's impossible to manage time. It's physics. It's impossible. But you can manage your activities. You know, if you're a realtor and you're showing up at your office and you're prospecting in the morning, you could reach out to 5 people in an hour, or you could reach out to 50 people in an hour. And we're going to show you how to do that. So that's just the same hour, right? But it's being more effective. So one of the best analogies or scenarios, whatever you want to call it, from one of my mentors, John Maxwell, he has something called the rule of 5. Some of you may have heard about this. And I love this because he uses the analogy of going out into the forest, and the goal is to chop down a tree. It's a really good analogy. So your goal might be to start your real estate business, or whatever your goal is. I want you to think about it in the terms of this rule of 5. And number one, when you're going after a goal, you got to know what the goal is. That may sound simple, but so many people are so scattered. I'm in real estate. What does that mean? Commercial, residential, single family, right? There's so many different aspects of real estate. So you got to know what it is. You got to be very specific about what it is you're going after. And when we coach people, I like to zero in on a 12-month goal. You know, we have long-term goals. You start to get to 5 years, though, and it becomes, your subconscious mind doesn't grab onto it. It almost gives you too much time is what it is too. But in 12 months, you can gauge 3 months in if you're tracking right. Does that make sense? So I like to do that. And for the purpose of this seminar and the goal cards, I would encourage you guys to set a 12-month goal, whatever that is. Some of you might be business, some of you might be physical, right? Our physical body, it's way more important than how much money we make. You know, you could be a multimillionaire, but if you got one foot in the grave, that's no bueno, right? So know what you want to accomplish. In the case of John Maxwell's rule of 5, he would equate that to pick the one tree. You can see back here, okay, which business are you going to pick? That guy right there, right? You laser focus on what do you want. Determine what you want. What's the biggest thing that's going to impact your life in the next 12 months? For a lot of people, it is income. Like you increase the income, if you 10x your income, that just provides so much, like the stress goes away. Most marriages break up because of finances, right? So that might be it for you. Number 2, we got to have the right tools. You got to have the right tools. When you select that tree, right, you could have an axe with a sharp edge, or you could have a baseball bat. Now think about this, right? An axe or a baseball bat. You could go up to a tree, 24-inch tree with a baseball bat, and you can work hard for 40 years, and you're barely going to dent the tree. Think about that. We're doing this all the time. It's not that you guys are lazy or we're lazy or human beings, right, for the most part. A lot of times we don't have the right tools, right? We're still trying to advertise in newspapers instead of being on Instagram. Wrong tool. Doesn't work anymore. So you got to be aware of the tools, right? Sharp axe or a baseball bat. Now the idea behind this rule of 5 is that I'm going to set the goal. I'm just going to take 5 healthy chops every single morning. That tree, right? That's all I'm going to do. Something that's easy to do. 5 swings at that tree with an axe. Right? I don't have to sit there and do the whole thing in one shot. Now, picture like a 24-inch tree, right? 5 swings a day. But think about this. If I take 5 swings a day, it's only a matter of time before that tree will fall. It might be 30 years, but it will fall. Does everybody agree with that? It's just physics and science, right? It will fall. You're cutting away, it's going to fall. So we got to have the right tools. Now we got to be focused too, especially initially. You know, my daughter told you I have 14 revenue streams. I didn't start off like that. I didn't go after 14 at once, right? You get one up and running and spinning, you leverage, you scale up, you leverage away, you get people to run it for you, and you start another one. Sometimes you can do 2 at once. We do that now, and your mind will expand too, so you can do multiple things at once. But for now, I see so many people that get scattered with their attention, right? And that's like going into a dark room with a candle, which is just kind of dimly lighting the room, or a flashlight. Flashlight's going to highlight exactly what you want. Nothing else matters. You're not distracted, right? So we got to pick a tree, because what if you took 5 swings a day on that tree, and then tomorrow you took 5 swings a day on that tree back there, and then Thursday, right, or the next day, and then you went to that tree, 5 swings over here. You see what we're doing when we scatter our attention? All you're going to do is scar a bunch of trees. They'll heal before you ever get back to them again. Nothing gets accomplished. So we're still working hard with the right tool, but we're not focused, right? The other thing, guys, you got to be consistent. Even if I do pick a tree, if I take 5 swings on Saturday, and then I wait 4 months to take 5 swings again, the tree will heal. So if you're not consistent in your business, whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it's health, wealth, love, business, whatever it is, if we're not consistent every day, it's not going to work for the most part. Anybody that we know that's ever accomplished anything at a high level, certainly in the early days, consistency is the key, right? And then you got to keep swinging until. This is the part that kind of goes along with the universal law of gestation. You're going to get an idea that in 12 months I want this to happen, which is great. Our subconscious mind absolutely needs that. So if you're reading psychocybernetics, you understand the subconscious mind, it needs crystal clarity, right? What's the income by when? Or what's the physical shape by when? We need the results and the time very crystal clear. And we need to get this from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind. And that's why we have a goal card. It's not enough to set a goal and then think about it every 4 months. Morning, noon, and night. Goal card, goal card, goal card. Every time I touch this, right to the subconscious mind, right? So we got to keep swinging until the tree falls. We're going to set a goal, but it might happen, maybe it happens in 2 years instead of 12 months. But the fact of the matter is, if you keep swinging, it will happen. Does that make sense? This is such a great analogy. Now, every day, guys, this is the thing that made, if you guys know John Maxwell, he's written close to 100 books. He's worth about $780 million, lives a heavenly life, doing what he loves. But he does 5 things in his business every single day for like the last 50 years. Now, when I say every day, I mean Sunday. I mean if there's a funeral. I mean if he's sick, if I'm sick, right? Now, it's not like you're going to work 8 hours that day if you're sick, but if you're a realtor, reach out to one person, even if you're sick, even if there's a funeral. I know that sounds a little morbid, but if you're in love with what you're doing, it wouldn't be. Why do we let something like a funeral stop us from advancing ourselves? Right? For stopping us from growing into the higher version of ourselves. Why would we let that outside stimulus stop us from being more effective so we can help more people? Ultimately, that's what most people are here to do. Get past your own wealth so you can help more people. Right? So why do we let these outside things, I'm sick. You're not sick, your body's sick. Big difference. Understand that one and you'll understand a lot. You're not sick, your body is. So we can compartmentalize that within reason. I'm not saying that there's certain things that don't take us down for the count. But I know some people that have been really, really sick and still working their business. It's like, I'm here anyway. They're making phone calls, getting chemo treatments, It all depends what you want, So every day, that's the key. So I made up this little rule of 5 for real estate. Now, if I was pursuing real estate as a realtor, I would do something like this. I would make sure every day that I did daily prospecting for clients, right? I would make sure 8 o'clock, I'm sitting down, I'm either texting, calling, emailing, and I'm talking about taking massive action. I want to touch all of my warm market, right? Hey, it's me, we have this open house, or hey, just thinking of you, we got this house here, or maybe it's nothing to do with the house. Maybe it's just calling people in your warm market and say, hey, I was just thinking of you, blah, 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 and just hope you have a great day. Just a touch point, right? This is another one that Bob teaches. Be face-to-face with a prospect by 9 o'clock every morning. So for those of you that are active realtors, go back through last week in your mind and tell me how many people you were face-to-face with. Because at the end of the day, it's a human-to-human transaction, right? So we use social media to pique interest, but then we take it offline, human-to-human. Sales is still human-to-human. If you're trying to just do it online, with the exception of some businesses, certainly not real estate though, you got to know how to take it from social media online to offline, right? Now, this one here, being face-to-face with a client, think about the top performer in your companies and ask them the next time you see them how many face-to-face appointments they had last week, and then compare the number to yours. Right? Success leaves clues. This is not rocket science. You find somebody that's successful, and the evidence is their results. You ask them what they did, and then you model that behavior. See, it's your own fear, doubt, and worry that'll stop you from taking that action. But now you know that that's just nonsense, right? It's just putting energy in the wrong direction. The third thing, guys, is some form of personal development. Now, we told you about the MMA, which is 67 cents a day. That's good for the mindset. If you guys are resonating with this, this is what we teach. But I would also get a real estate mentor. Follow Grant or follow Robert Kiyosaki or follow the top person in your company. Get that information because you want to be doing about at least 15 minutes of education in your field. I like to do an hour, but I'm teaching you something that's doable, the rule of 5, 15 minutes a day. Because if you learn in the morning and then take action with the body, you're going to process the feedback that either worked or it didn't. Your subconscious mind stores what's good, right, and it rejects the rest. And then the next day you learn, and then you do, right? So we always learn and do in the same day. Now that methodology, think about that. For the next 365 days, I'm going to learn and then do and then process. Learn, do, process. Most people are caught up in study, do. I'm working my business. I'm a realtor. No, you're not. You're just putting information in the conscious mind. And then there's other people that are high activity, right? They just they're talking to everybody, but they're saying the wrong stuff. So you got to have the balance. It's the mind and the body. And the best balance that I've seen is within a certain day, study and then do every single day. Now, this is a system that guarantees success. It's impossible to fail when you're doing this. If you do this rule of 5 every day, it's impossible to fail. Now, this rule of 5, this is like a minimum daily method of operation. Make sure you're at least reaching out to one person. Make sure you're at least studying something. Does that make sense? So even on the days when it's a Sunday or the funeral, right, reach out to somebody. It'll feel good to do it because you'll think about that person, number one, but it's also in harmony with what we're doing here. Ask at least one person a day to list their house to become a client. Think about if you're in real estate, how many people last week did you actually ask to take action? Hey, I see you might be thinking of selling your house. Would you mind listing with me? This is what I bring to the table. Right? And then pull out the stick man and blow their minds. Show them why you're more valuable. You might know a little bit more than the next realtor. This is how I sell. This is what I can do. Did you even know how this works? It doesn't take much. I mean, you guys are going to have this recorded. You could study this for like a month and have enough information to really set yourselves apart in that first conversation with somebody. Now, you're going to be in a high vibration. They're going to feel it, and they're going to want to list with you. Does that make sense? You need to separate yourself from the herd, and this is a good way to do it. And then the fifth thing here is promotions and branding social media. You got to promote yourselves. You got to promote your company. You got to be aware of your branding, your company's branding, social media. If you're not rocking Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, you're behind the times. You're behind the times. That's where it's all at now. It's not newspapers. Podcasts is another good one. So those 5 platforms, if you're not understanding that, if you don't have a team of people doing that in some way, shape, or form, you're behind all of your peers. That's one of the things we teach when we work with people in business. We sit down, we go through, and we teach exactly how to do that stuff. So this is a good rule of 5. Now these things, if you do one person here, face-to-face with a client, right, you could do all of this in like an hour. At least that minimum daily method of operation, you know? Now maybe on Sunday you don't want, well actually realtors, weekends, maybe you want to take Thursday or Friday off, but you guys live on the weekends. So, we all need some downtime too, but if you get into this habit, now I said habit, right? That means your body does it without you thinking. Like I get up at 4, I don't think about going to the gym, I don't think about putting the earbuds in, I don't think about starting new businesses. I get an idea and I create a business. Like we started our software company on a napkin in a 60-second decision. We started our clothing company with 2 strangers from California. You guys actually know them. I met them, we resonated, and we sat down and we formed a company. Now that sounds maybe a little bizarre, but it's not. Most people plan to start companies. Entrepreneurs start companies. We start them, we get an idea, and we start the company. Does that make sense? So this rule of 5, man, so powerful. And again, John Maxwell, probably the world's foremost thought leader in leadership. Right? That's what he teaches. He made an expert out of himself in leadership. So guys, the daily method of operation. Wake up, do the daily visioneering, get the earbuds in, set your vibration for the day. Here's the deal about vibration. Once it's set for the day, it's very hard to change. So if we set it intentionally high, it's very hard to change, even if you're stuck in traffic. I get stuck in traffic, I'm listening to education material anyway, and it is what it is. People are beeping, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense, The traffic is what it is. People are just... Now, if you understand the transmutation of energy, by the time you're going like this, That energy has gone to and through you into every single cell of your body and expressed in a very toxic way as a physical form of anger. The person you're flipping off and screaming at can't hear you. You know? When somebody does it to me, I send love their way, you know? So here's a good daily method of operation. Get that information, get to a high vibration, do the rule of 5, and of course, we're here promoting the MMA, so I'm going to say that, right? Weekly method of operation. These are things like attend company trainings. If you're with a good company and they have a training and you're bagging them, that's not what a 7-figure earner does. It's not what they do. Success leaves clues, right? There's a reason you want to educate yourself in the field. You want to know about the company you're with. You want to know what edge they have, what makes them stand out. You also want to know if you're with the wrong company. Maybe they don't stand out. Maybe that's a huge red flag, you know? And then I like to do this thing called tech splitzing. And if I was a realtor, this is what I would do. I do this for some of my other businesses. On a Saturday morning, or you could pick whatever, it could be a Wednesday night or whatever it is, pick a period of time. I'll reach out to 50 to 100 people in an hour, maybe 2 hours. It's just taking massive action. I told you guys I did this last week. I sat down for 8 hours straight in my network marketing company, reached out to 300 people. Now that was the cause, and the effect was I hit the goal 3 days early that I was trying to hit. The deadline on that goal is midnight tomorrow, and I actually hit it at the gym yesterday morning. Now that's not anything about me. I'm programmed. I'm conditioned. It's my paradigm. I set a goal, I take action. There's no fog. There's no space in between anymore, right? This programming has turned me into a success mechanism. Now, if I can do it, you can do it, right? I was 43 years old, broke, divorced, living in a condo, despite having superior knowledge, architect, builder, all this superior knowledge, but inferior results. Because the knowing-doing gap, the conscious to the subconscious. I had the information here, but it wasn't suppressed through the spaced repetition of content into my subconscious mind, which is what drives the body, right? And then monthly method of operation might be something, attend a bigger seminar. I mean, you guys are here. This is a good example. We do these once a month. The one we're doing at the end of next month, I believe it is going to be in multiple revenue streams. So similar stuff, but applied towards how do you get multiple plates spinning? What are those steps? How does that work? And you guys are all on our email list, so you'll get that when the next one is if you're interested. Because that's what we do. We take a realtor or whatever business you're in, and we teach them to scale their income up, but then what do you do with the income? Right? What's next? We're always thinking what's next. I'm always thinking 3 steps ahead of my clients. Take an inventory once a month of your results. Take inventory. If you set a 12-month goal, at the end of every month on a Sunday, get into a calm state and just assess. How many people did I reach out to? How many of them became clients? How many houses did I sell? What was the results? If I reached out to 1,000 people and I only sold 1 home, those are not good numbers. Maybe I need to raise my level of awareness in sales, right? Maybe I need to learn a little bit more about the path to agreement, selling to paradigms, some of the stuff we teach, right? And then if you do have a mentor, which I highly suggest in real estate, maybe a once-a-month breakfast or a call. And this is not a 4-hour thing. If you get a mentor in real estate, they're not going to have much time because they're going to be highly effective. But you can get on a laser coaching call once a month, tweak a few things, and they'll be able to tell you right what you're doing wrong instantly. So I highly suggest getting a mentor in your field. And then a yearly method of operation, guys. This might be something like the Grant Cardone 10X event. We do bigger events. We're going to do one in Toronto. The bigger events, seminars, it could be anything. John Maxwell, Tony Robbins, they're all good. The reason why most of them don't work, though, you're going to know this now. The next time you go to a seminar or a real estate seminar or anything, number one, take notes. But at the end of the seminar or that night, take the notes, chunk it out into 3 things. What are the 3 most impactful things from this weekend with Tony Robbins? Now here's the last part of it. Read those things every morning and every night for 90 days. What you're missing, what everybody's missing in any seminar is the spaced repetition of the content. We don't learn things in a weekend. When we coach somebody, we work for 6 months with them because we know how the mind and the body works. We know how to change paradigms. Right? So no other course in the world that I've seen yet, and I've trained with the best, is teaching how to change paradigms. See, we're foundational. We're foundational. Whether you want to do sales or internet marketing or whatever it is, you need that foundation. right? Now this is what happens, going back to a paradigm, at big events. See guys, there's only two ways to change a paradigm. One of them we talked about, the spaced repetition of content, right? We keep talking about that. That's one way to change a paradigm over time. Another way to change a paradigm is from an emotional impact. Now, a lot of time emotional impacts are not good. Like 9/11 was an emotional impact. A divorce is an emotional impact. A death in the family, loss of a loved one. Those things happen and we instantly change our life. If two sweethearts are in college at 20 years old and they get married and they're smokers, and at age 40 one of them dies from smoking, then the other one might quit. Does that make sense? An emotional impact can change a paradigm overnight, but normally they're not healthy, they're not fun, they're not good. It's very rare that there's a positive impact, but at big events, even this, a small event, this might be a paradigm shift for you guys. I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping you don't just come here and go home and keep repeating patterns. I want this to be a pattern interrupt. And that's why we gave you the stick man. We're going to give you the recordings. And if you watch this over and over and over again, or take the pieces of it, we're going to boil this down and clip it up too, so you'll have that. So I always like to, we talk about the rule of 5, right? And I always like to give this analogy. And if you know what this is, don't say anything. When we talk about persistence, it was documented that there was this one tribe, I believe in Africa, out of all the history of tribes and cultures doing rain dances, they documented this one tribe, and every single time in the documented history that they did a rain dance, it would rain. Now, throughout history, all the other tribes, all the other cultures all around the world, it was more sporadic. It was a spiritual thing. They would do a rain dance, but maybe it would rain. Most times it wouldn't. I mean, most times it wouldn't. They're trying to connect with infinite intelligence, and they're doing their rain dance, and nothing would happen. Can anybody here tell me why that one tribe in history, every single time it rained, every time they did a rain dance, it rained? Anybody tell me that one, or take a guess? If you know, don't say it.
They didn't stop.
You knew. Yeah. They danced until it rained. A week, a month, a year. Now, it wouldn't take a year, right? But certainly within the month, they danced until it rained. So when you get your system, when you have your rule of 5, when you have your process, you set a goal, but you need to build a system. See, the goal is out there, but the system is daily. The system is the rule of 5. And if you're in real estate, you can set the goal, and that's good, but then you need the daily system. Then you live one day at a time. You build one brick at a time. You have successful days one at a time. If you're following a system, you don't even have to worry about if it's going to work or not anymore. Right? I don't worry about getting to $1 billion. I know what's going to happen. I just focus on the day. Does that make sense, guys? So that you can surrender to the process. You literally don't have to wonder if it's going to work anymore if you have a system, something you're repeating on a daily behavior. Education, action, promotion, that rule of 5. Does that make sense? So you got to dance until it rains. Contacting and inviting. So you guys got a form on your desk. I'm not going to get too much into this. This is a whole other subject of how to pique interest using neurolinguistic programming, using words, our language. If you're interested in getting on a call with this, you can fill out that form. But I am going to tell you a little bit about it. Now, these are obvious methods, guys. When I talk about text blitzing or reaching out to people, there's a lot of ways we can do it. Obviously, texting your warm market is one way. By the way, our software company, this is what it's going to do. Our CRM tool, it's actually built for realtors, people that are solo entrepreneurs. So this will be coming out in the summer. But phone calls, emails, Facebook, social media, Shaper. If you're not on Shaper, it's an app. It's like Tinder meets LinkedIn, right? People are literally going there to network. If you want to build your network. So you might connect with an insurance agent and you start referring each other, right? And you build up these relationships. So when you're blitzing and you're building your network, there's a lot of ways to do it. And then obviously most of you probably have BNIs, meetups, in the gym. Think about this one. I get paid to go to the gym. Literally. Matter of fact, with the business I have, I get paid 24/7, 365 right now. But I get paid to go to the gym. I was there at 5 a.m. on Friday morning and I hit a new rank advance. Now that rank advance represents probably in 3 years from now it'll be $250,000 a quarter. Right? Think about that. But I'm at the gym. What kind of people go to the gym? Lazy people? Right? They're already demonstrating through their actions that they're motivated. You know? Most of them probably own homes because they're motivated. So just think about the environment. So if you're somebody that wants to get in shape and you're in real estate and you're looking to build a network, why not combine the two? Right? My gym has 7,000 like-minded people in it. I do business in 4 different businesses there while I'm working out, while I'm listening to Bob, right? Now that's a habit. I didn't start off that way. One by one, now this is a habit. It's just, I don't think about it. And again, guys, this isn't about me. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm trying to impress upon you. Again, I was rowing that same boat 5 years ago, the boat of ignorance, right? Activity management. Again, you can't manage time. Keep it simple. Surrender to the process. I don't have an advanced CRM tool. We're creating a very simple one. I take the methodology that's in my head. We made something that's super simple, like a 6th grade level. But for now, guys, I just use a calendar. Right? This is Apple iCalendar, and these represent all different. Every color is a different company. That's the top half. That's the bottom. But activity management, schedule. Right? My laptop and my phone are connected. My iPad. Everywhere I go, I have this schedule. So if I get a text, I can look at it, and if I can accomplish whatever's on there, I'll do it. But if I can't, it goes on a schedule. Now, a lot of people make lists, and lists are really good. We're going to talk about that, but I want to show you how to take it even a step further. So the key to activity management is living by your calendar. And I know that sounds a little robotic, but it's really not. It's how you can live a heavenly life. It's how you can schedule the fun stuff too, right? At least for the short term, at least till you hit some of those goals and you can get some time freedom, so you can live the way you guys want. So it all comes down to very, very simple. And you can do it on paper too. The thing I like about this is when I'm text blitzing, I can text blitz that person, and I just move it, right? I text and then move, and I don't even have to think about the response. So when I'm blitzing for any of my businesses, I just move things around. So when I'm moving this person, this is a commercial contact for hotels, I'm going to move them to next week. Now I'll move them until they become a client or one of us dies. That might sound a little morbid, but that's the methodology. I'm going to follow up with that person. Now, I'm not going to hound them. I'm going to think of clever ways to stay in contact. Hey, we just got a new service. I thought of you because of this. Or, hey, it's your birthday. It might not be business. But I am going to move that contact until I can help them in some way, shape, or form with one of my businesses. So that's how you never lose, right? I don't have to think of it. So I text blitz 100 people. Think about the process of that. I text and move and text and move and text and move. I don't have to think of if they responded or not, because 3 days from now I'm going to see it and look in my phone, right? So there's a methodology to it. I can free my mind. There's no fog in between each text. There's no fog whatsoever. I'm not thinking if they're going to become a client or not either. That doesn't matter. I can't control that. I'm just doing my part. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, which is the business side of it, right? So activity manager starts with a calendar. Now, this is something I learned from a very smart gentleman. I was actually working with Armin and his team, the electrical company there, Markine Electric. The difference between something being urgent up in this quadrant versus important down in this quadrant. Now, the difference is schedule, right? Because whenever we schedule, everything's important, right? Even going to the bank, it's important. You get there, you get to deposit the check. The dry cleaners, if you don't go there, you'll be naked, so that's pretty important, right? So everything is important at some time, literally everything. Doing the dishes, otherwise they'll pile up, right? But urgency, look at the difference. Important, we can do calm, stress-free, effective. Urgent is chaotic, stress, anxiety, poor performance. Now this is why things go from being important to urgent. It's from a lack of schedule. It's from a lack of schedule. It's from a lack of getting information, dissecting if it needs to be done at this moment or can I do it in a week. Processing. Most of you guys, when your phone goes off, you're letting somebody else's agenda distract you. When your phone goes off or your email goes off, it's somebody else's intentions. It's not your plan. It's not your plan. It's not the rule of 5. It's what somebody else wants you to do. Does that make sense? Now, a lot of that stuff is great and we need this stuff, but it's also very distracting. So let's say I'm creating the investor presentation for my software company. And I'm deep in thought and I'm doing this thing and my phone goes, and I look at it. Right there and then I just lost 17 minutes in performance. It takes about 17 minutes when you're in the flow of creation to a distraction to getting back into that same flow. That's a 500% daily efficiency loss. Now your phone is a tool for you to use, but most of your phones are using you guys. Ooh, right? Ooh, squirrel, right? We get distracted. Turn your notifications off. Turn the vibration off. Turn everything off. Give an emergency number to the people in your family that you love. And you guys probably all know how to do this. If not, you can Google it, and that'll go off. Like, health things. Everything else, I'm going to show you guys, you want to use that tool, not have the tool use you. So the reason why things go from being important to urgent is they were never put on the calendar. They were never put in a schedule. Right? Now, if you guys are list builders, if you guys build a list throughout the day, what you want to do is take that list at the end of the day and put it in your calendar. Then it becomes a schedule. The difference between a list and a schedule is a schedule is thought of what is the most important thing you need to do tomorrow. Right? Some things can wait. Like I just sent my taxes in. Right? At January 1, that's not important. It's not. It's on my list, but it keeps moving. Now, April 15th, now it's important. Now I'll get it done. Does that make sense? We get distracted. If I was doing my taxes in January, not doing the investor presentation for our billion-dollar software company, that doesn't make too much sense, does it? But that's what we do. We don't have a plan. We don't have a schedule. We don't have a methodology. So now this is important for every business. This is also important even if you're Susie Homemaker, and that's your job, and you run the family. This is not just business. If we're waking up every day and just getting punched in the face for whatever's coming with no plan, it's horribly inefficient. So if you're a stay-at-home mom with 5 kids and you're running that family and you're doing the books for your husband, and you have this plan, you can free up like 2 hours a day for yourself. So efficiency goes for everything. Now, if you free up those hours for yourself, you can go to the spa, you can you can do the yoga, you can take care of your body and relieve the stress and be present for your family. So this isn't just business, right? So things go from important to urgent because they hit you in the face and they're not on a schedule. Does that make sense? Now, sometimes, guys, we do have urgent things come up. A phone call. Somebody just got into a car accident. Mom's in the hospital. If you have your day all planned out like that one, something urgent comes up and it's urgent, I can look at my calendar and within 15 minutes make a few phone calls and strip that entire day. That goes that white spot, that goes in that white spot, this goes in this white spot. See all the white spots? See the efficiency there? So when something is urgent, we can deal with it calmly. We can just reschedule the day. Done. If you don't have this, man, you're going to be blowing deals, blowing people off, going to the hospital, maybe blowing a 6 or 7 figure deal. Like this stuff costs. Right? If you get this one principle alone, your life will just get a lot easier and more calm. You'll free up all those minutes. So you can see here that, there's 15 minutes. Maybe we'll grab a coffee, And if I ever need to move something, I just move it. Does that make sense? And it's not to say that I accomplished all that in that day. But if I couldn't do something, I make the phone call and move it based on priority, not based on a whim. Does that make sense, guys? So this little section here, understanding urgency, things become urgent because you don't schedule them, and then they become due, and it becomes a problem. And that's what happens with the stress, because then you have 6 urgent things in one day, right? So this is what I was talking about. Now this is going to be a tough one for some of you guys because you're glued to your phones. It's actually become like a cybernetic organism. It's part of you. Only check your email and phone 3 times a day. I promise you that'll change your life. Have the emergency numbers so the right people can get in. Everything else is everybody else's agenda. When I go I spend the first from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. is me time. I wake up before the life script goes in. I'm making coffee, listen to myself, talk about myself, about the future. It sounds weird every time I say that. I'm at the gym for 5 o'clock. I'm on the cycle for an hour, right? And I'm cycling pretty good, but I'm in a meditative state. My eyes are closed. I'm listening to my life script, raising my vibration. Phone's not going off. What I actually noticed is that my body's working out, but I'm somewhere else. Does that make sense? So I'm actually meditating while cycling, while getting information, right? And I get off the bike, do a little bit of stretching, then I lift for an hour and a half, and then that's when I shift to thinking and results and lead the field, which is the advanced project programs that we teach. So even as I'm working out, I'm getting information. Right, so by that time, I'm mentally, physically, spiritually in such a high vibration. And 8 o'clock rolls around, I'm back home, back in the office. I don't check my phone or my email. I'm going to show you what we do next. I go to what's the most important thing I can accomplish today for my future? And I work on that for an hour or two. I check my email around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Now, when I check the email, I focus on checking my email. And I process it. And you can see here, when you do check your phone and email, if you come to a task, if it's under 2 minutes, just do it. If it's a response to an email, do it. If it's a little bit of a task, do it. If you can delegate it, delegate it. Under 2 to 5 minutes, get rid of it. If it's more than 5 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, schedule it. Think about it. Well, I don't really need to do that today. The deadline is Fridays. I can do it here. Does that make sense? So process that whole list. Focus intently. Be 100% present checking your email. And you'll be way more efficient. Then process it and move on. Same with your phones too. A lot of people, as soon as it goes off, boom, breaking the attention. Horribly, horribly inefficient. That is not why we have phones. Our phone is a tool meant for us to use. Does that make sense, guys? Same with the email. I keep saying this, but this alone will change your life. Use the phone. Don't let the damn thing use you. Right? And for God's sakes, don't get lost in Facebook and Instagram. Even though I'm marketing to all you guys on there, use it as a tool. If you want to check it, this is going to sound weird, check it when you're in the bathroom. If you want to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes on Facebook, multitask. Oh, that's ridiculous. And if you are a list maker, which is good, I used to be a list maker. I still am. I have sometimes you just got to jot stuff down. I have notes. I have things like that. We have notes that are linked to our team. At the end of the day, process the list and put it on the, right? Otherwise, your list looks like this. Go to the bank, dry cleaning, groceries, drop John F at school, create the multi-million-dollar presentation. Now, we're creatures of habit. We like to check things off. So we do the first 4 things, and that 6th thing that's going to impact your entire world and universe never happens. The next thing I'm going to show you is another piece of this whole puzzle you're really going to love. So a list is a chaotic representation of tasks. There's no order to it. Now, guys, order is heaven's first law. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that. Order is heaven's first law. When you have order in your life, you can live a heavenly life, right? So if you're a list maker, at the end of the day, take the list and process it. Here's the other part. When you process the list, it's out of your mind. It's in your schedule. You can be present with your family. You literally don't have to think about things anymore. If you're not using a list and a schedule and all the stuff, it means you're carrying around half a dozen or probably 100 different ideas from the day. And we just carry it around. You're wondering why you're confused and not getting stuff done. Because you're not using your conscious and subconscious mind properly. We can't process that much information. You've got to get it out of your head. That's why I have 3 8-foot vision boards. I'm projecting my mind onto the wall so I don't have to retain that information. Make sense, guys? Here's the $25 million idea. Now, Bob calls this a $25,000 idea, but that was back in the 1800s, right? So $25 million idea. This is another piece of the puzzle here, guys. The idea behind this is, at the end of the day, when you're processing all this information, think about tomorrow, and just think of the 6 main things you need to get done tomorrow that are going to move the chains. This is not the dry cleaning, the banking, cutting the lawn, right? This is building the presentation, meeting for coffee with a 7-figure earner, the things that are going to move you in your business or your side business. If you're trying to build up a side hustle, if you have a network marketing company, this would be like reaching out to 10 people. So write down the 6 things you need to do towards your goal that are most important, and then reorder them from 1 to 6 in the priority. What's the biggest thing? What's the biggest thing? Now, this principle, why it's called the $25 million idea, is it literally reshaped the United States Steel Corporation back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. They adopted this one thing. All the managers from the CEO down, at the end of the day, they would decompress, think about the 6 main things they needed to do, prioritize them, and then come in tomorrow and you work on the one thing. Now, here's the deal. You work on the one thing till it's done, if at all possible, even if the one thing takes a month. Because if you don't have some kind of a system, then nothing's getting done. So you weren't going to get it done with your old system either. You might think about, what about the other thing? It doesn't matter. You're not going to get the most important things done if you don't have a system. So at least this way, you are always, always, always working on what's most important now. This is how I run multiple revenue streams. For the last 2 weeks, my network marketing company became the most important thing because of the goal. But now it's back to the software company. And I always have my construction company, and I get a lot of urgency there. Homeowners calling in, people calling in. I get a lot of urgent things. Sometimes I have to clear my calendar, right? But I'm always calm. It wouldn't make sense not to be. But this is how it is. You use all these tools instead of having the tools use you. So this idea here, right, you put those 6 things in order and you work on the first thing until it's done. I promise you this one method alone will change everything. Now for some of you guys, the main thing is to get to the gym. The first most important thing is to wake up early and take care of the vehicle that you're in. That might be the most important thing for the next 12 months over everything else. Some people, it might be investing in their relationship. Be present, invest in your relationship. And other people, it might be a business thing. So you've got to figure that out. But this methodology is absolutely priceless. The other thing that we always talk about, right, is mentors. I think you guys can see by now that I've invested a lot of money in mentors, and I still do, and I plan to until the end. Bob still has mentors. See, mentors, hiring a mentor, what you're doing is you're trading energy, well, we call it money, but money is just an idea, green paper, to compress time. Right? You can either spend 40 years trying to figure this stuff out yourself, or you can hire a mentor who's demonstrated by their results that they know what they're talking about, that can hold your hand through the minefield and impact your life. But we're so hung up. We get so hung up on investing in ourselves. We don't think anything of investing $100,000 in a college education to come out and make $50,000, right? But when it comes to investing, $10,000 into a 6-month program, since it's not like college or mainstream, that's confusing to us. That doesn't make sense. And we have paradigms about it. But I want you to think about this. When you're 95 years old on your deathbed, whether you have $1 million, $10,000, or whether you're in debt $1 million, $10,000, is irrelevant. You see, but we get so hung up with it. So investing in mentors, I've spent well over 6 figures with this man, and I'll continue to do it. And now we're training with Damon, and it's going to be Grant, right? But I've developed multiple 7-figure businesses in climbing. So it really depends what you want to do, but get a mentor in your field. If you want to work with us, like I said, we got the forms there, and they can save time. A lot of people think that's a cost. Investing in a mentor, well, that's going to cost money. No, it's an investment. You're going to blow thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands doing business the wrong way. I personally have done that. I've lost 6 figures not knowing this stuff before I ever had a mentor. So if you think it's a cost, it's from a lack of awareness. It's from an ignorance, really. It's not knowing. I can sit with Bob for 15 minutes and get a 7-figure idea. Shift my thinking a little bit. A couple of words from his 84 years of experience, right? And then the other thing is you get the compound off the results. I said, Bob, you're doing good, but I'm going to meet you at the post and pass you at the gate. And he loves it, right? He was only thinking 6,000 consultants. I'm thinking 100,000. I'm helping him do it. So that's kind of cool. You get the leapfrog off what they've done. That's probably the most exciting part. And the friendships, too. I mean, Bob Proctor is a friend of mine. Damon John, we've met, we're acquaintances, but he's going to be a close personal friend, right? And I always show up with, what can I bring these people? I get a bizarre look. When I sat with Bob one-on-one for the first time, the first 3 hours was how I could help him. Like, nobody shows up and says, Bob, this is what I was thinking to help you. It was really cool. But this is, we all have mentors, and right down to the lineage there we explained, that's the deal. And if you don't think you've ever had a mentor, you have. If you think you learned to walk by yourself, you didn't, right? Your parents were mentors. Remember I said that was a mental program stored in your subconscious mind? Well, so is wealth building. So is everything we're talking about. So you've already had mentors, and sometimes you're having mentors that are going in the wrong direction. You don't even know they're mentoring you, brainwashing you, right? Your environment. But when you were first learning to walk, your parents had you, they mimicked, they showed you, you physically looked at it, held their hands. So if you were training with Warren Buffett, he's going to do the same thing, but it's going to be on, mergers and acquisitions. So we all have mentors, guys. And again, if you want to just get to know us a little better, text MMA to this code, right? Dig in with us for a month. You'll see it's very organic. I get on Facebook live every day, all different subjects, all different things. We can have people comment. They comment on what they want to elaborate on, and then we have that Monday night webinar too. So if you type in MMA 30 gift, you get 30 days complimentary on that. And what the Matrix Mindset Academy is, it's really all this, right? It's the daily life coaching and the stuff we're talking about. There's a lot of information today. But I just told you it's about the spaced repetition of content. So what we're having here is a lifelong journey together. It's a family. We have people networking together, like-minded people from all over the world. You can get to know us, right? We work on business, wealth, health, love, relationships. We're working in the principles, the universal laws. I know some of you guys were mind blown, right? It takes a while to get this stuff. I'm still learning this stuff. Every time I teach, I learn a little bit more, right? We have events too. The idea behind this, guys, this is 67 cents a day, was to give so much value, right? This is the cause. Like, this is going to go global. We're going to have hundreds of thousands of people coming together all over the world in this stuff. And we're just getting started with this. So I highly recommend you take advantage of that. And again, what are we talking about here? You'd be surprised how many people I run into. It's $19 a month. And I get the look like, $19. Think about that. You know what it is? It's a paradigm. They don't even know why they're resisting. That's the bizarre part about it. $19. You pay it for Netflix, right? Which is doing what? Somebody else's agenda. You're watching other people get rich is what you're doing. You know, we'll pay $100 for an MMA fight, you know. 60 cents, it blows my mind sometimes. But it is what it is. Our goal is not, our goal is to put it out there and harmonize with whoever we harmonize with. One of the things Bob said to me, like he's 84 years old, it's pretty cool. He does not give a shit, right? He hasn't needed money in 6 decades. He tells it straight. And he said to me, Brian, when I was working with him, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, do you really expect to win? Right? This stuff is not taught in schools. Do you really expect to win? That equation doesn't make sense. You're either going to learn through the school of hard knocks over 40, 50 years, or you can compress time and invest with a mentor, right? So guys, I have a lot of recommended reading. I've read hundreds of books. I've studied with people all over the world. If you choose to get these books, and if you choose to use the spaced repetition of content, my goal here today is to leave you better off than I found you. Whether you decide you want to work with us or not, that's up to you, if it resonates, but I want to leave you better off than I found you. If you get these books right here, and if you cycle them over and over and over again, it goes through all areas of your life. There's mental, spiritual, finance, right? Think and Grow Rich. U Squared is How to Make Quantum Leaps, if anybody's ever read that book. That's where that fly story comes from too. This is what I would boil down into the top 5 books that will really move the chains for you guys. And you're going to get the slides too, so if I'll leave it up for a second. But now here's the knowing doing gap. Some people will order these books right now from this room. Other people will stay on the list and never get done. Whenever I hear of a book, I always ask people if they're sharp and they've demonstrated by their behavior that they're successful, I'll ask them, what's the one book you would recommend out of your entire life? Do that with 100 people over the next 10 years. You're going to have 100 of the best books in the world. So I've been doing that for a while. So when I give you these books, there's a lot of horsepower behind it, right? All right, so I told you I would tell you a little bit about some real estate stuff, investing in real estate and some different things, right? No money deals in real estate are easy. Your conscious mind is going to tell you that it's hard and it doesn't make sense. And depending on who you're hanging around with, it's going to be like, well, how do you do that? No money deals. Right? In real estate, there are people, investors, senior level investors that have spent their entire life collecting, building real estate portfolios. And when it comes time for them to cash out, a lot of times they would rather hold paper on these portfolios, meaning they would rather be the bank than liquidate assets and pay taxes on $20 million of real estate in one shot. That make sense? They would rather piece it out, become the bank, mortgage to people. Over the next 30 years, if they're 60 years old, turn that asset into 30-year notes, 5%, where somebody else is dealing with the headaches, and their asset is still backed by the collateral of the property. So if there's these people that are doing that, what we need is the other side of the equation. People that demonstrate that they are trustworthy, that they can take that property, manage it, they're not going to, blow it, and you can actually work with these people and create no money deals. Right? They may have a 3-family and it's worth, it's on the market for $200,000. So listen, I'm going to give you a full price offer, but what I need you to do is hold 20% note. I want you to hold 20% so I can secure this, right? Here's my W-2. I'm going to give them some references, prove that you're worthy, and you can get them to hold the 20% down payment while you go to the bank and get the other 80%, and then the property manager or the person that owned the property, they hold that secondary to the bank. Now, you might have to ask 100 people. You're not just going to go up to one person and this deal is going to magically happen. So remember, sacrifice is trading something of a lower value for a higher value. If you don't have the money to invest, that's one form of investment. Then you need to invest some time and network with people. Maybe go knock on some doors, show up to some BNIs, come to some events, get around like-minded people, ask questions, demonstrate that you are worthy, and it might take you 100 people before you find somebody that you're on the same frequency with, says, yes, let's do a deal. The other thing behind real estate, that same piece of property, let's take a 3-family, $200,000. You might structure a deal as long as the numbers work where you're going to pay them $220,000. You're going to overpay for the property, right? But you're securing the property with no money. The ROI is 100%. As long as the numbers work, in other words, as long as the rent pays for that mortgage, plus a little with expenses, as long as the numbers work, you can actually overpay for the property, have a 10 or 15-year note, and at the end of 15 years, you turn nothing into $200,000. Or let's say you do have some capital, and you're going to put $20,000 down. You can overpay for a property because all you're investing is $20,000. We get hung up on numbers. Again, as long as the numbers work, I don't care if you pay $300,000 for something right now, in 10 years it's worth $200,000. The bottom line is you took 20 grand and turned it into 200,000 with somebody else's money over 10 years. Does anybody know if you took 20 grand in the stock market, how many flips would it take to get to 200? How many years? Right? It's about 40. So if I can take 20 grand, turn it into 200 in 10 years, backed by a security, backed by a tangible thing, we get so hung up on overpaying. If the numbers work, the numbers work. Remove emotion. Never mind what everybody around you is doing, unless they're sitting on $100 million in real estate. Right? This is what Grant Cardone would teach you. How to use other people's money, no money, or deals, just based on the numbers. Does that make sense, guys? And again, if you want to talk more about this, fill out the sheets. I'm happy to get on a one-on-one. I love talking about this stuff. I love educating people. You're not going to figure it all out in one seminar, but this is some things, right? The power of asking. Ask until, dance until it rains. Get that first deal, right? Get that money roll. Now, once you get a deal, let's say you secure something, maybe it's a fix and flip, and you fix it up and flip it. The other part of the equation, if you don't know about 1031 exchanges, you're losing millions in the back end in real estate, millions. A 1031 exchange is a legal way to take, let's say you take $20,000, you secure a property for $100, and you fix it up and it's worth $200. You sell it, now you get $120 in equity. Well, you're going to pay taxes on all that gain if you don't know about a 1031 exchange. A 1031 exchange is a way to take all that money, invest it into the next property tax-free, and roll it, right? So then 100 becomes 2, and then you take the 2 and you get something that becomes 4, no taxes. 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 1.6. You can do that and do that and do that until you get $10 million over 10 years, and take the $10 million and secure like a 50 or 100 unit rental property, like a factory or something. And then let that business be that business where you got 100 units under one, right, with somebody else running it. And then even then the taxes are spread out. You got write-offs, all kinds of stuff. You guys see how a little bit of information, and why I said I should charge a lot more for this course? Little bits of information. That's what mentors do. It could be 5 minutes, change your life, change your income. Does that make sense? Oh, fill out the form. So guys, this doesn't happen by accident, right? We do a lot of one-on coaching. We work in all different areas. We do work in real estate, right, sales. We work with teams. We're going to be working with some big teams, a couple of 100 people in their teams all over New England in the fall here. If you're somebody that wants to go from real to broker, we can show you how to do that. If you have a team, we can work with teams. We work with Mark Electric. There are about 35, 38 people, I think. So we work with teams in sales. We do marketing and branding, wealth mindset coaching, leveraging and scaling. We teach social media, startups, multiple revenue streams. If any of this resonates with you and this interests you, you can go ahead and fill out that form that's on your table, schedule a one-on-one, and like I said, I just love coaching, teaching, helping, so be happy to chat with you guys and dig a little deeper into what's going on with you. All right, guys, so that's the end of our dog and pony show here. Hopefully you got some value out of that. Again, we're going to have another event, I think the end of next month. There'll be some, end of May, is that what it is? On how to create multiple revenue streams. All right, so thank you all for coming. Until next time, be well and God bless.